Hello everyone, it's Josie. I have not been on here for several months, and it's good to be back for a video at the moment. So I wanted to talk about medical trauma PTSD. I've been trying to piece together this video for about a year now and gave up. Medical trauma PTSD or medical PTSD is when the medical field, either medical or mental health field, contribute to the development of PTSD. You get a trauma response from different things, and unfortunately about a year ago I ran across an article that stated how medical PTSD is going to be renamed, as well as kind of reformed into illness-induced PTSD. To my understanding, illness-induced PTSD is more along the lines of getting PTSD from an illness or a disease or a disorder that you have. So pretty much shifting the blame for some people of how the medical and mental health field had contributed to their mental health. So Ehlers-Danlos syndrome did not cause me to develop trauma responses. The medical and mental health field did. And I really want people to stick around for this video because I feel like this topic needs to be spoken about, not in a way of me trying to say, oh my gosh, these people are terrible. If you are in the field and you just so happen to run across this video, please take this video as a do your best not to actually do this to a person. Bedside manner is very important no matter who you're dealing with, and asking other questions is a good idea. I 100% believe that if I was treated different when I was growing up, I would not have the responses that I do to this day towards the medical field and also towards the mental health professionals. I'm going to start from whenever I was a kid. I was diagnosed with cerebral palsy, and then that got changed when I was about 6 or 7 to juvenile arthritis. I remember being at school and crying because my legs hurt from the weather. There was obviously something wrong when I was a child. Not only did I get told since I was a child, being in school and struggling and having learning disabilities and kind of just working a little bit differently than everyone else, that I was lying and being lazy, but I was also being told by any doctors that I went to that I was lying. I was told that it wasn't happening, that I was just thinking that it was happening. So when I was a teenager, I started to block out any pain that was occurring because I was starting to convince myself that this was obviously all in my head and I can stop that. Then it turns into my EDS story. So when I was 15, I fell on ice. When I fell, I dislocated my shoulder and was able to completely put it back in myself. I ripped the ligament on my collarbone and broke my collarbone. I started getting told more and more that I was lying. I went to about 8 different doctors in the span of 4 months, trying to figure out why not only my shoulder was dislocating, my entire shoulder was going downwards. And I got x-rays and MRIs, and everywhere that I went, the typical response was, it looks like things are okay. You know, I think that you really don't like school and you're just very emotional because you're a girl. So you're making excuses to go out of school. You're telling people that you're in pain when you're not. Here I was in severe pain, being told that I was making it up. I was lying. Doctors thought that I was punching myself to get bruises. I had bruises from my joints, like slamming back together and pinching stuff and things overextending. I had like bruises on my upper legs from, you know, the tendons and ligaments being overused to the point of bruising. I was spraining my ankles all the time, and I had this really high pain tolerance, and one specific one sticks out that very seriously just looked at my mom and was like, you need to take her to the hospital as soon as possible because I think she's going to hurt herself to prove a point. That broke me as a teenager. You know, getting in the car and just breaking down and telling whoever was with me that like they might as well just drop me off at the hospital because obviously I'm not mentally okay. Like, I'm really convincing myself so much that I'm in pain. And you know what? I'm not in pain. You should really just take me there. And I got to a point where I was 15 telling people that like they needed to just drop me off at a hospital. I was at a point where I believed that I was a hypochondriac when I wasn't. And then I finally went to this pediatric hospital. He looked at everything and he was the person that caught it. And he was like, oh my gosh, these are not like normal x-rays and MRIs. And that's how I got diagnosed. The diagnosis didn't stop the response that I got. And it didn't stop my response to the response that I was getting. It got to a point where I started to dissociate with doctors, and the moment where they would start saying, I think your anxiety, and I would just shut down, and I didn't know what they were saying, and I would just be staring at them. It would be either me getting very angry and freaking out and having a complete breakdown in front of them, or it would be me getting back in the car and just breaking down and telling the person that was with me that I very obviously needed to just go to the hospital. It was like everything flooded back in of my brain goes back to that 15-year-old that was told that I needed to be in the hospital as soon as possible. It's like that reminder of no one is going to understand what I'm saying. I can tell you every single one of my doctors that I see at the moment, there was an initial breakdown the first time I saw them. Every single one of them. The ones that I see on a daily basis, they've seen it, and I don't know what to do, and maybe I'm making things up, and that's what happens. Well, the mental health field is not any better with this. There is a strong connection between stress causing inflammation in the body and what stress and inflammation can do to your body, especially with anxiety, depression, and a few other different things. If someone comes in and they say they have headaches, you need to assume that maybe it's just their anxiety's out of control. If someone says that they're depressed and they have back pain, you need to immediately associate it with those two. And that's not the case. When I really started trying to get help for my anxiety and for my depression, and being told that if I just worked on my mental state, the gastroparesis will disappear. If I just went on anxiety medication again, all my headaches would be gone. And then I come to find out I had like severe nerve pain instead. One last year that really stuck out to me was before I went into a PHP program. I went to this half-day therapy group thing. I was very anxious one day because I was waiting on a call back from a neurologist. My head hurt so bad, I don't know what's going on. And a therapist straight up just looked at me and she was just like, well, maybe if you worked on your anxiety, all of your headaches will go away. You need to stop self-diagnosing yourself. I broke down, got in my car, and started screaming. And that's what it brings me back to. It brings me back to that, am I really dealing with this? Or am I making this up? When in fact, I am dealing with it. It's real. And I know it's real. But whenever you have everyone going up against you, saying that you have no idea what you're talking about, and everything is psychosomatic, what is that going to do for a person? Now, I completely understand hypochondriacism is a real thing, but associating a person's pain with immediate hypochondriacism is not going to do anything for that person, besides making them scared to get help. I'm terrified of getting help for some things because the first thing that I think of when someone goes, oh, what are you dealing with? They're going to tell me that the EDS is not real. But the reason that is in my head to this day is because I was always told from the time I was 5 that everything that I said and did was because I was trying to get attention, I was lazy, and I wanted to have something wrong with me. The bedside manner. How do you respond to some stuff? How are you going to respond? How should you respond? And I apologize, but look, medical PTSD is caused by the medical field, whether people want to say yes or no. And it's a real thing. It makes people not want to get help for things that they need to get help for. How does this affect me to this day? I need to have someone with me. Anytime I go to like a new doctor, I need someone with me. I dissociate really, really bad to the point where I have said things that I did not mean, to the point where I have yelled at people before and I did not realize that I did, because when I get in my car, I break down. And I break down in a rather bad way. And it's very negative and directed towards me and attacking myself. Most of my doctors now, the ones that I see on a daily basis, I can go by myself and be okay. You know, I'm in my mid-20s, I can't go see a new doctor by myself. You know, that's pretty much it for this video, but I think this is an important subject that people need to touch more upon. So that's my story on why medical PTSD, how it is for me. You assume that it's more of a normal response to maybe listen to a patient, ask questions, listen to them. You need to make them feel comfortable. And I don't really think the best response is, are you sure that's happening, or do you think that's happening? So I think a change of response is definitely going to help people in the future. And I really hope one day that I can maybe get over some of this and not have those thoughts and those responses. Alright guys, I hope maybe you learned something in this, maybe you didn't, I don't know. I hope you guys have a good day and a good week, and I will see you soon. Bye!